Hi, everybody. Happy Wednesday. Welcome to What Would Cynthia Do? Those of you joining from the LinkedIn side, please say hi in the chat so I can see you and say hello and give you a shout out. I'm just going to play this new different music for us. Jazzy, chill summer vibe, hopefully. It's so hot today in New York, so I was trying to channel as much chill as I could, literally and figuratively. Oh, it's nice to see you too, Deirdre. James Graves 99. Hello. Okay, we're talking salary negotiation today. So before we get into it, let me know who you are in the chat. Oh, we got some people on the LinkedIn side. Viana, hi, happy Wednesday. This is actually a special request, topic request. Salary negotiation is from the one and only Viana Adams. So I'm very excited to finally be able to come through for you on this topic. I hope you enjoy it. Ask me all your questions. Hey, Jenna. Oh, Christopher Jimenez, welcome. Yeah, it's so hot. I bet it's so hot in Philly. I had a friend who was there over the weekend, and she also said it was getting real kind of like swampy hot. So it's pretty warm over here in New York as I turn on my AC. Good. I'm glad the temperature is going to drop. I don't know what the weather is like in New York. We'll find out. So yeah, do your intros, please. How we do them at What Would Cynthia Do? Hello, is name and pronouns, and you can share a recent win if you want, but I feel like people sometimes feel a little sheepish about them, so I'll make that optional. Do tell me if you have any plans for the summer though, because this is our last episode before summer break, and I want to know. Hey Catherine. Hey Gasparian. Okay, so let me know what your plans are for summer and stuff. I'm going to tell you about the weekend I just had because it was fab. I had a great weekend. Oh my gosh. It started with I went roller skating on Friday night, which I've been doing more, which I'm proud of myself for because sometimes those of you who know me know that I don't like to leave the house. But I do love roller skating, so I have been doing it. Hey, Catherine, how's the temperature over there in the West Coast? It's super hot over here, if you were wondering. So that was a great like kickoff to my weekend. And then on Saturday, I went to a cat cafe with a friend, which was my first time ever going to one of these places, and that was interesting. And then I went to Brooklyn, which also those of you who know me know that I don't go to Brooklyn for no reason. I'm based in Harlem, but yeah, I went to Brooklyn to a friend's pop-up private art gallery show, which was really cool. Those of you on Instagram can follow and go visit. I think actually tomorrow is the last day, so the closing party and stuff, which is probably already sold out, is tomorrow. Anyway, the handle you should follow is AG Trap House, AG Trap TRAP House HAUS. So check out Conscious's art show over there, and if you can get a spot, get one. It's really good. It was so cool. Let me know also over here, y'all, how are you doing? 2 words in the chat to let me know how you're doing. Same over here. Hi, Jamala. Hi, CR Holmes. Let me know how you all are doing. What are your plans for the summer? If it's easier, 2 words about how you're feeling. So then after I went to his art gallery on Saturday with a couple of my friends, and we like saw some really cool stuff, had some great conversations, bought some art. Then on Sunday, I went to brunch outside with some friends, and that was really nice. Haven't done that, I think, since COVID, which is the thing that's stressing me the fuck out right now, to be honest. All this about the Delta variant and all the other concerns about, just we're acting like it's post-pandemic, and it's totally not post-pandemic. So I won't be a total downer there. Oh wait, that's the wrong sound effect. I wanted to play you all my sad trombone. Hit the wrong button. So yeah, I'll stop that. And yeah, Viana says my girls go back to school in 2 weeks. So our summer's almost over. Oh my God, 2 weeks? I'm looking at my calendar. Holy moly. So that's like the second week of August. That's wild. I can't believe that. I'm just about to start the summer break for What Would Cynthia Do? And it's already over for some folks. So, okay, keep telling me your 2 words in the chat of how you're feeling. Jerry, oh my gosh, Hush Loudly. Everyone, all the introverts, you need to be following Hush Loudly. One of my friends, colleagues, and clients, Jerry Bingham, runs that account. It's fantabulous. All of the best advice and content for introverts, especially introverts of color. So follow Hush Loudly over here on IG. Jamala says things are ironing out at work, so that helps. Yes, lots of thumbs up for that. I'm gonna play you an air horn for that one. And I'm glad you're pretty good. Yeah, it really helps when stuff at work is not stressing you out. And you can kind of be like, oh, things are actually good right now. So good. Viana is feeling optimistic. Jenna's summer plans are going to Virginia for a long weekend with the husband and kid next month. I mean, nobody asked, but Jenna has the most adorable baby. Oh my gosh, so cute. So if you're lucky enough to know Jenna and who I'm talking about, you also know adorable. Round of applause for Jenna's baby. Yes, other than that, virtual work, no PTO. Yeah, that's rough. It's going to come up today a little bit, maybe in our salary negotiation convo. Continue to look for jobs. Need salary. Yes, that's right. We always need salary negotiation tips for when you get those job offers, dream offers or not. You know, it's, those of you know me know that it's basically my middle name to always negotiate. So we'll be talking about that soon. And yeah, I'm so glad for you, Jenna, to be living your fantabulous life. We all love to see it. Thanks for the heart, Ashley. Okay, so I'm going to talk about salary negotiation for the next 10 to 15 minutes. Keep your interest coming. And as always, drop any questions or comments you have in the chat. I always circle back at least a few times. But I will be diving into the salary negotiation for a minute. Hello, Purple Kitty. And Lucy says, I was explaining to my mom yesterday what introverts are and why it needs in silence. Yeah, that is key. Communicating our needs, such an important thing for introverts. Okay, so before we start, I want to know, quick temperature check. Tell me if it's your normal practice to negotiate job offers or to negotiate periodically in your work. Yes or no? Is it your practice to negotiate job offers or negotiate periodically in your work? Tell me in the chat, IG side and LinkedIn side, please. Hi, Purple Kitty. And thank you, Christopher, for the intro, needing help with the current negotiation. Well, I'm glad you're here. And we'll circle back to specific questions in a bit. So I'll tell you, yeah, Hashtag says job offers only. Okay, so don't forget, you can negotiate periodically too, even after you've started at a place. Hey, Minetta. I'll tell you my story. At the beginning of my career, the first job I ever got, I did not negotiate. I was like, okay, this is the pay. All right, great, I have a job. You know, very youthful, I feel like, outlook. And I was just like, it didn't even cross my mind to ask for anything. Then when I was a public defender, we're unionized. So there was no real negotiation of the pay scale and stuff because everyone was just there at a certain level. And it was, you know, with each year you go up another step. However, thinking back on it, I actually got bumped up from like the default lowest entry level step to the a first year, like 1 year of experience level because I had clerked for a judge the year before. Who I think might have been over here for a second. But anyway, so I had clerked and they gave me credit for that 1 year of work. And so thinking back, if they hadn't done that for me, I certainly could have advocated for getting like an additional step, which every dollar counts, right? Because that's like your base and it's your starting point. So if you're starting at a higher starting point, that's great. You'll be where you want to be faster. So that was an interesting experience. And then once I started my business, like everything is a negotiation. Like first is a negotiation with myself for where to set my rates and my pricing. And then it's like often a negotiation with certainly like organizational clients and stuff like that. So I'm doing it all the time now. Oh my God. Hi, Sharon. So great to see you. And thanks for answering the question. Yes, try to negotiate most of the time. Lucic says money, no, but I usually go for benefits. Legit. Jenna says I've done both, learning to be more aggressive. Yeah, and you know, for those of you who are concerned, because as women of color, we face like all kinds of stereotypes, accusations, things like that. You know, like I feel like for a lot of my clients and other Black women in my community, it's like I don't want to be seen as the angry Black woman, right? So it's always like on my mind, and I want to make sure they don't get discriminated against for that. At the same time, I'm going to bring up an intersectional study about negotiation in a little bit, so keep your eye out for that, because it will explain how, in fact, this can help. And I mean, I just reframe it as being assertive. You're not being aggressive. You are like assertively asking for what you want. People can say no, you know. So who else have I missed? Vienna says, I try to negotiate, but I don't think I'm good at it. Well, that's the first negotiation with yourself, Vienna. You're working on it. Sure, we could all use some improvement, and you negotiate and you do your best. There you go. Reframe. Jamal says, and I hope I'm saying your name right, job offers only for the last couple of jobs. Hey, you're doing it. Claps for both you and Vienna. And Purple Kitty says, yes, with an exclamation point. I love it. Jamala says, in my experience, I can only get a major raise by leaving. Yeah, that's usually what I find to be the case. Either you're leveraging an outside offer or you are going from one employer to another, and that's where the big raises usually tend to happen. Or you've got this external offer and you can tell the current place, hey, I really love working here. Also, I have this other offer, and it, is there any way you all can match it? In sum, that's what you could say to try to stay at the place. And yay, I'm glad I was pronouncing Jamala correctly. Yes, assertive is a good reframe, right, Jenna? And yeah, I know you were thinking what I was saying and vice versa. So I got you. Okay, so thanks for letting me know where you all are at. I'm going to tell you 3 of my tips when it comes to salary negotiation, and they're each quite meaty, juicy tips. So drop your questions and comments. I'll circle back. The first is always at least try to negotiate, right? Like even in that unionized position that I had, or say government jobs, stuff like that, where you feel like nobody negotiates, you can still ask for certain things, and it may not necessarily be the money. It might be something like benefits or your working conditions and stuff. And for anyone who didn't see this already, I'm going to share screen for one quick second over here. On the LinkedIn side, if you haven't seen my post on Instagram from Monday, it has 45 and actually now 46 things that you can ask for at work if you're not sure. And most of them don't have to do with money or salary. So definitely check out that post and save it. A lot of folks saved it, like 350 people saved it, which is the most I've ever probably experienced. So find it over there on IG if you need ideas for what you can ask for that's not even money. So that's number 1. Always at least try to negotiate. Now, 2 sub points. If you are one of those people who's like, it's hard for me to ease into it, it's not your natural tendency, you want like a yes exclamation point like Purple Kitty over here, then here are some ways that you can ease into it. All right, here's one of my favorite phrases, scripts to use. Write it down. I learned it from an amazing podcast called Battle Tactics for Your Sexist Workplace. Highly recommend. So the phrase you can say to ease into a negotiation is, oh, is there any flex in that? Pretty good, right? You're not even asking anything. You're not making a demand. You're not, even saying any numbers, any requests. You're literally dipping your toe in the water to see what the other person's reaction is when you ask if it's at all flexible, if it's at all negotiable. Yes, we know everything is negotiable. Everybody has their price. But in a situation, especially if it's a job offer or you're negotiating conditions at work after you've been there for a while, it's a great way to ease into it. Is there any flex in that? Okay. And then another one is, what about X? Like, what about fill in the blank? So once you're into the conversation, you can always say like, oh, what about, and that might be your counter offer if you're talking salary in dollars, or it might be, oh, so they can't do this type of thing, but like you can ask, what about this? Like if they say you can't work from home 5 days a week, you can say, well, what about 4 days a week? You know what I mean? So that's something you can fill in the blank with any of those 46 things that are in my post, and like keep it going, because negotiation is really creative problem solving. All right, it's not a fight. That's why I try to avoid the language and the ideas of like it's an aggressive, like you're fighting for your piece of the pie. If you think about it as it's teamwork and you're coming together as allies, you're advocating for yourself, you're going to recruit them to be an advocate for you too, so that you can creatively solve this problem of you're doing this work and the pay is not commensurate, or you would love to do this work for them, but the offer is not commensurate. Hey everybody over here, Yari and Power Change, Bishop, hi. Oh my gosh, so many people. That is awesome. So yeah, that's the first subpoint. The first point, always at least try to negotiate. Second subpoint is I want to address this fear that I feel like is ever looming at the back of our minds as women of color, as people of color, is that they're going to take the offer away, right? That the offer will be rescinded if you try to negotiate or advocate for yourself. I've never had this happen to a client. I've had hundreds of clients. I've never had it happen. I have read about it a few times or heard about it through like online or whatever. But those situations seem to be really outliers. So, I mean, sure, like it is possible it could happen. I also feel like if you asked in like the right ways, which we're going to get into that's tip number 2, and they rescinded the offer because you negotiated for yourself, then I feel like honestly it's a bullet dodged. Like if they weren't willing to work with you or at least entertain or at least say a nice no, then probably you might have face some mistreatment of that job later on too, assuming it's not a place where it's like truly no one negotiates that salary, and like I don't know, and you asked in the right ways again. So I don't know if that's anything folks are like afraid of. Oh yeah, Dr. Tisha, hi, says that's the biggest fear. And yeah, like I do think that's always looming in the back of your mind. Just what if you're thinking about it, try to remember that like 99.9% of the time it's not a thing. I've again, like I've never had a client had that be their experience. It's always been much the opposite. Okay, so that's tip number 1. Always at least try to negotiate. Number 2 is ask in the right ways. And I'm using massive air quotes on that because there is going to be a lot of, you thinking about how you might need to code switch or say the right words. There's a lot of my negotiation coaching and training and stuff is about like saying certain keywords and like approaching things in a certain way. Those of you, by the way, who supported my crowdfunding campaign, thank you, at the $50 and $100 level and $125. So if you got the negotiation guide and the sticker pack, or you got the career success starter pack, or you got the podcaster pack, check your email because you have a special exclusive negotiation guide from me called How to Win in Negotiation, and it actually includes a lot of that stuff. So look for that. I also made you a really cool negotiation calculator. So it takes all the question guessing guesswork out of the numbers because it's right in there. Okay, so how to ask in the right ways. 4 things I'm going to tell you. 1, always keep emphasizing your excitement and your enthusiasm about the job itself, about their mission, their organization, the team you'll be on, them, the person you're talking to, the work you'll be doing. Keep talking about that stuff and sandwich any asks and stuff with, bookend it with your enthusiasm and your excitement about the job, because you don't want it to look like, you're only in it for the money. And like, sure, I get it. I have no problem with the utilitarian approach to work. We live in capitalism. You need money to pay your bills. I get it. Also, with a lot of the jobs that, folks in the audience and stuff are going for, you usually want to make sure you're not giving off the impression that you don't give a shit about the job, right? It's not a great look, and you're not likely to build empathy and rapport with them such that they will advocate for you to get what you want. Let me know if you have any questions. So number 2 on the sub point is consider intersectionality. So I got into this a little bit with, the back and forth between me and Jenna's comments about like aggressive versus assertive and stuff. So I can't dive into this whole study right now, but I do encourage you to look it up online. It is called Race Matters for Women Leaders. It's the only intersectional study that I know about negotiation for certain types of women of color, and also women in general. But it looks at women in general, default white women, Black women, and Asian American women. There are flaws with the study. It obviously does not encompass all groups, but the learnings from that are really fascinating, I think. And you can think about it and extrapolate and then apply to like different ethnic groups within that, and even I think for men of color. So read that. It's a negotiation study by Professor Ashley Shelby Rosette, who is a professor at the Fuqua Duke Business School. So yeah, think about how people are gonna read you and react to you as who you are and how you present. So, based on how, like if you like I read like an Asian American woman. So there's certain ways that like I negotiate to maximize my chances of success. All right, third sub point is plan out the words you're going to say and actually practice. Oh my gosh, practice. I cannot stress it enough. Figure out your scripts or your kind of talking points and just keep going back to them. I say this a lot too. Negotiation is like, it's not your TED talk. You really only need 3 to 5 of your talking points. Just keep circling back to them and say like variations of them. That's how you're going to get your point across and be most effective. And then also will make sure you don't get nervous and like ramble, which is a thing for a lot of people, that you don't undercut yourself. Stick to your script, prepare and practice. And also you want to make sure you're getting the tone right. That's kind of how you make sure you're asking in the right ways. Fourth thing, do not try to negotiate over email. Oh my God, if at all you can avoid it, try to get a face-to-face, a Zoom or like in person if people are doing that already. But a Zoom is good enough, I feel like, because it's very easy to say no to an email. It's words on a screen, words on paper. Very easy to just be like, nope, hard no. Somebody said it before in the chat. It's less hard to say no to a voice on the phone. It's even less hard to say no to someone's face. Beyond that, it is so much better, and you can get so much more information when you're negotiating face to face. You can read body language, you can pick up on the vibe, you can read all sorts of cues, and it's a dynamic conversation, right? A problem solving conversation. So you need to be able to assess and get all the information you can so that you know how you're going to move next. So that's why, you just give up a lot when you let your negotiation be over email. You're basically abdicating all of your power and leverage in having like a real conversation. And there's an article somewhere out there that quotes me about like why. So if you want to read more about it, feel free to Google it. I don't remember what publication it was from. Okay, so the third point. Okay, the first point was always at least try to negotiate. Second point was how to ask in the right ways. Third one is the worst case scenario. All right, so Jenna said here, what if they come back with a hard no? So yeah, sometimes it happens. You've tried every which way to have a productive, constructive conversation with them, and they really simply can't budge. You feel like you have reached the end of the wall, the ceiling, whatever. Yeah, sometimes that happens. Some things that you can consider here. If all else fails, get them to agree to revisit the conversation in 90 days or 6 months, some shorter period of time before like having to wait for a whole year annual like performance review cycle or something. Ask if they'd be willing to like talk about it once you've had some time there. And this is the key part. You're going to use that time to prove your value to them and like why they should give you what it is that you asked for. And don't forget, you can always ask for things to be retroactive. You can ask for retro pay. You can ask for a title to be retroactive to any time in the past, like just because the time itself has gone doesn't mean that you necessarily have to give up everything, right? What is the second and last point? Oh yeah, so truly negotiation is an ongoing thing. We think of it as a one and done, and most of the time it's really not. So once you start a job or like this new phase of the job, keep proactively managing up with your supervisor or whoever the decision makers are on this stuff, so that they continually know what you are doing, what impact you're making, like how important and integral you are to the work, the team, the project, making their lives easier, right? If they know every week, every other week, you are like routinely checking up with them and managing up. Hey, Rhonda, everybody follow it, Simply Speech, my friend, and public speaking coach who knows all about managing up, because I have a talk on it that Rhonda's very familiar with. Anyway, so yeah, you're going to be managing up, and that truly is a negotiation on like an ongoing basis. So do that, and then by the time you do make an ask, 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, 12 months down the line, like they'll be like, oh yeah, of course. Like Jenna's been killing it at this job. Viana's been doing so much. Like the ROI I've gotten from, having hey Kojo, from having Jamala on staff is incredible. Like I cannot lose Jamala. We must give Jamala like what the original ask was, and maybe we'll even make it retro pay. So remember that. Let me answer some questions, but those are the 3 tips. Jenna says, love that 90-day tip. I have to, okay, cool. Yes, definitely. Managing up right here is the regular Zooms with your supervisor. Make sure to do that. The question here is negotiate with the CEO or HR who gave you the offer. I mean, it depends situation to situation. It's probably, if it's a large org, then probably HR who gave you the offer, or sometimes a recruiter if that's who you're interfacing with. But it's hard to say in the abstract. It depends on the specifics. Jenna said, last job I got 1K more when I negotiated. Hello. Yes, it was something. Look, every dollar counts, and it helps with the baseline. Let me go back to Christopher's question. What are customary increases for internal role changes? 10 to 20%. The role crosses 2 levels of promos for my current role. Just trying to figure out what's reasonable for NYC. So it's a little hard to say without knowing your industry, Christopher. But I would say, here's the thing. If you're not familiar with this, read this book. It's called Never Split the Difference. And it talks about percentages that you should be asking for if you want X amount more. So if you're talking about this role going up 2 steps of promotions, it may be even more than 20%. Like I consider a standard merit increase to be anything in the 2 to 3 to 5% increase. That's a standard merit increase. No change in levels or anything. If it's 2 promotions, I mean, that could be really significant. So I would think about that. I had a client a week or 2 ago where it was like, I get also it was like 2 levels of promotion, and also like they're essentially doing 2 functions, so like 2 people's jobs. So that could be like, literally do the math and what would be 2 people's salaries for that. Think about it that way too. For one more thing for you, Christopher, is I'd look at and ask around, what are other people making at those 2 levels? You should be comparable to whatever 2 levels of promotion up is, plus whatever value add you bring. And don't forget, if you have been over delivering and underpaid in the past, like think about what you should be compensated for in terms of like, back pay or retro pay too. You may not call it that, but that may be something you ask for. But there's specific numbers and stuff in Never Split the Difference. Oh yeah, financial services tech. Yeah, so yeah, I would look at what's comparable both within your org and also industry standards. If you feel uncomfortable asking people at work, then ask around other places. There's a really good BuzzFeed article by Caitlin Boston, where she found out what all the white guys were making to make sure that she wasn't being underpaid, which she was being vastly underpaid. You're most welcome. And she got a 40% increase in her raise after asking this one question to find out what people were making. So check that out, Christopher, and everyone. Let me see if we got questions over here. Hey, Fit with Crystal, great to see you. Matthew Soul, S. Paramore. Okay, we got a question from Diana. How do I respond when someone says, what are your salary requirements? Never had a good answer for that. I worry my says bar too low. Yes, I have an article on this too. Again, I don't remember the publication. Might have been BuzzFeed, might have been HuffPost, not BuzzFeed. Might have been HuffPost. It might have been Fast Company. I don't know. Anyway, Google my name and like salary requirements or how to answer that question. I think it was HuffPost. Because yeah, my stance is you should not be revealing that until you know what their offer is. Like, great, the rare employer, they'll put what the pay is or a range or something in the posting. So that's great. And in which case you can decide what your salary requirements are. If you don't know, you should not be telling them what your salary requirements are. And you certainly shouldn't be telling them what you earned in the past or your current job. In many places, it's illegal now for employers in an interview setting to ask you for your salary history, right? Because we know that negatively affects women way more, and certainly women of color also compounded bad. That's not a grammatical sentence, but you know what I mean. Okay, so the answer is like, don't say it. You can say things like, shit. I think I actually have templates for this in my Instagram. Let me check real quick. You can sort of say like, I don't know. I like, I would, without knowing everything that the role entails and the full comp package, like I couldn't say. There's another one, another way that's basically like, oh, I'm happy to talk about that once we've decided it's a fit and there's an offer on the table. I've had also a brilliant client who said the best way possible. She always says, oh, you know, in my experience, like it's never been a deal breaker. Like once we've, if it's a fit, like it's comp is never a problem. Comp has never been a problem if it's a fit. Genius. Okay. So I would say one of those things. And yeah, if you were, you're saying the bar too low, you probably are. So definitely also do your research. Yeah. Okay. So Viana, I already answered this question about salary history. It's banned in certain places. So you should make sure that that they're not asking you illegal shit. How do you find out what other people are making? Can HR disclose? I mean, sure, I guess HR could do anything, but are they going to be transparent? Probably not. So I would Google around, but also ask people. So what I was telling Christopher earlier, ask other people, especially straight white men. Ask them what they're making doing those roles. That's what you should be making too. So check out that Caitlin Boston Huff BuzzFeed article on the one question that she went around asking everyone, and then she got a 40% raise. Hey, Net Virtual Solutions. Let me know if y'all on the IG side have any questions. I am scrolling back. Hey, Library Bandit. Yes, you can find my stuff on YouTube or whatwouldscynthiado.com. I have the replays on there. TT, let me know if you have any questions. Or Jamala, Purple Kitty. Let's see. Was there anything I missed? I think there's no questions on this side, but like pipe up please if you have any. We're about at time. So I'm gonna just do one thing and see if I can find that IG post where it's like, don't tell how to not tell people what you make. Oh my God. What is it? It's like something like, don't make them answer you this question. Don't answer this question. Oh, here. Okay. It's a purple, light purple slide cover. It says, do not let them bully you into answering this question. Yeah. Okay. It's from May 10th. So go and find that. Here, I'll share it real quick to the LinkedIn folks. Go and find that post after this. Both my post from Monday about all things you can ask for and this one, do not let them bully you into answering this question. I have some scripts in here of stuff that you could say, which was basically what I told you, but you know, in case you forget or it's easier, this is Monday's post with all the stuff you can negotiate for and ask for. So happy negotiating. Final questions. Oh, great. We got one from Archer Life. This will be the last question. How do you, and thank you for that, buffer.com/salaries. You can all look into that. I'm not familiar with that resource, but check it out. Archer Life 11 says, how do you address asking or bringing up how much someone is making if it's a taboo topic at your company? Yeah, well, newsflash, it's a taboo topic everywhere. Most people are not into having like candid conversations about money. I'm quite an outlier, I feel like. But I would read that article by Caitlin Boston in BuzzFeed. Basically, the one question she went around asking all the straight white guys is, do you make more or less than this? And so she would put a number, or you can even depersonalize it even more, and you can be like, hey, do you think this is like a fair amount for somebody to be paid to do X job with Y years of experience, right? So you can put the number out there and you don't even have to put anyone else on the spot to ask. But if you do the over under thing, you'll be able to find out. Like if you're like, okay, is it over or under $100,000? They're like, oh, over. And they might even just tell you at that point. But if they don't, then you're like, oh, is it over or under 125? Over or under 150? Over or under 115, right? You see how you can basically find out the number without making them say it. You just ask. So read more about that technique. It's fucking genius, and Caitlin is a genius. So yeah, okay. Thank you all. Thank you all for your excellent questions. We can always do Marisol says, thank you. Answer me. Oh, great. I'm glad I got your question, Marisol. It's great to see you. Happy summer. Thank you all for joining. It's been so fun. I normally say at this point to join us next Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern. However, we are about to go on summer break. So I will see you all in the fall. If anything, feel free to stay in touch. Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn. Get on my mailing list, the trajectory at embracechange.nyc/sign up. I have limited spots for coaching with me between now and end September. So interested in that, link in my bio, and you can book a power session with me, or go to embracechange.nyc. You can book a power session through there. If you're interested in long-term career coaching with my team, sign up for a free consult. Those are available at my website and at the link in bio. Archer Life, I'm so glad that you're into it. Yeah, oh my gosh, thank you all for coming. Thank you, Viana. Thanks for posting the link too. You found it. Thank you, Lucic, Jenner, Christopher. Thank you so much for that question. Who else joined on this side? Sharon, always so good to see you. Thank you, thank you. Thank you to Archer Life, Marisol, Neff Virtual Solutions, Tricks Are for Kids. I love that screen name. That's Paramore, Bitless Kids, Messy. So Rhonda, Simply Speech, Kojo5, Vinash. Thank you, everyone who came. Have a great summer. I'll see you in the fall. And